Welcome to another one of my process videos. This one shows you the process of drawing a spider that's also part woman. This is an illustration for a book, hence the aspect ratio. What you can see here is me blocking out the dynamic composition. The author wanted this creature to be risen above, as if they're about to pounce on this character, and this pose suggests that this person's perhaps been knocked to the floor, hence the kind of arm raise, and as you can see the drawing of the legs coming in now, it's very much like the person's leaning back. And the reason for the torch is that if you've watched my other video on the seer, light source was a really big issue. So very early on in this one, I knew to enhance the effect of something evil. If you go for lighting that's from underneath, it totally changes the face for one, but it makes for a much more dramatic composition. So what you've got here is me working out the shape of the head. I felt it was a bit small, even though with foreshortening it probably would be quite small. And the spider creature actually doesn't have hair, but it wasn't until I was nearly finished that I looked at my brief again and saw that that was an error. So you can see me fleshing out some of the forms here. And you'll also notice that when I've drawn other things, I've very much based it on a sketch, whereas I just went straight in with paint. And sometimes it's fun to do that, particularly if you're working in black and white, because you're just focusing on values. And here, you can see me thinking that maybe I wanted the arm reaching down towards him, but when I tried it out, it actually made the composition worse. There's something about the fact that she has her arms raised that says that she knows she's in control, and she's not worried about being, attacked, even with this torch. So I'm finessing some of the light here, working out where it would hit and catch based on the distance from the body of the spider and the woman, and based on the intensity of light. And the thing with light is that there's an equation, which I won't even try to repeat off the top of my head, but there's a square of diminishing returns in terms of light intensity. So that torch, although bright, probably wouldn't light the face and the torso quite as much as it would the underside of the carapace. So I'm playing with a bit of artistic license here. And you can also see that on the right-hand side of the image, there is light, and that's to suggest that there's other people there, or perhaps daylight coming into the cave, or even another light source. Again, it just helps emphasise the shape of the abdomen, because that really wouldn't be lit by that torch, even with a bit of artistic licence. So you can see I've added some more legs, but they're very close together on the left, and I correct that later. What I'm doing is going in to the various forms now and refining where I feel light would hit based on the anatomy of the creature, the muscles, and of course the distance from the torch. You can also see that I spent a bit of time on the character's armour, because I thought, well, they may have been knocked to the floor, but they're not going to go adventuring without some sort of defensive equipment. Hence I put a gauntlet. They look like they've probably got gloves on as well, and then some shoulder armour as well, or pauldrons, or is it spaulders? I can never remember off the top of my head. I probably shouldn't say these things without preparation. So you can see more refinement here. Change the forms there on the hair and the chest, and I'm just playing around with the shading. I still haven't looked at the brief again at this point, hence the hair. When you go for something that's more realistically recognisable as a human, or have human elements, it can make it even more ugly and sinister when you recognise things that are distinctly human. Whereas if you make something too alien across the entire piece, I have got arachnophobia on my side, of course. A lot of people are scared of spiders, but I find that adding those human elements can actually make something more sinister and scary rather than less. You'll also note that I have used a similar technique for the torch in this one as in the seer drawing. Adding those driven snow elements, it's a really good brush for simulating embers and things, and I imagine good for snow as well, but I don't use it for that. So right now I'm thinking that a spider's legs are going to be, furry, a bit like a tarantula. Even put some fur on the back of the abdomen. It just makes it a little more icky. And if you're not from the UK, icky meaning gross, or it makes shivers run down your spine, or it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable when you're looking at the picture. So you can see that I'm going back into some of the forms again, sometimes darkening them, sometimes brightening them, just adding little pockets of detail here and there, changing the light again. What I thought was that there was too much light bleeding onto the chest, and what it does is, by removing that bleed of light, it really frames the face. If you look around the face, there's a lot of black, and that means that as your eye is drawn up the image, particularly with this line up the centre of the carapace, and then even the line in the abdomen, you get to that face and you naturally stop there. And now, of course, I've removed the hair and altered some of the lighting there, added some very sharp Vulcan or elf ears. Some people think of them as Vulcan if you're a Star Trek fan. So I'm just filling out the arms a little bit now and fiddling around with them. I felt they were probably a bit big and a bit broad, and they were bothering me. Sometimes things look fine in a composition until a certain point, and then suddenly you feel there's just something off. You can see it, you can feel it. You can see me adjusting the legs here and the abdomen, moving it up a little bit so it's got its space. It's got space to be present. And that's the drawing pretty much finished. Thanks very much for watching, and hope you will like and subscribe. Look out for more coming soon.